we made a pretty meager investment into some marketing. We just wanted to see how the market would respond, right? And we got activations immediately. And then we started getting matches. And honestly, if you had said to me, will you get matches? And I would probably laugh at you. But it started giving matches right away.
Joining me today is Nuri Otus, founder of Duo AI. Nuri, welcome. Thank you for being here. Tell us about yourself and what Duo does, and then we'll jump straight into how you got your first paying client.
I've done startups for 30 years. Started my first one in 95, sold it in 99. While I was building my second one, I was still working on the first one. After I sold that one, then I started the second one. I've had a few exits, and I enjoy this part of building a business, figuring everything out. It's where you're wearing different hats every day. When a business gets larger and when you get too many people and everything, it just, for me, it stops being fun. So I either sell my company or I hire somebody to take my place. So it was a really interesting progression. We started off looking at a bunch of different things. And my co-founder and I, George was on dating apps for a number of years. And a little bit over 2 years ago, I came out of a almost 12-year relationship. And I went on dating apps after some period of time. And they're not good. Most of them are really bad, frankly. And they're designed not to get you matched up. They're actually designed like the casinos in Vegas for you to not be able to exit. You know, the drill in Vegas, they pump in oxygen so you don't get sleepy. You can't see any doors or windows from where the tables are because they want you to stay. They don't want you to have context of time. This is very much a similar thing. The apps that are out there are not designed to get you a match. They're actually designed to separate you from your money. And I know that sounds really bad, and I'm not going to throw anybody under a bus and say that, but as a person that did it and invested a substantial amount of money into it, it becomes very evident what the algorithm is written to do. And the fact that I've been around tech for 30 years is one of the reasons I know that. So we basically looked at the industry and we wanted to take it and flip it. We wanted to remove the high school annual perspective of some of these people, swipe left, swipe right. What we wanted to do was we wanted to build something based on real relationships. So now, if you register with Duo, there is an onboarding process, which some people finish in 10 or 15 minutes. However, we've had people who have taken 2.5 to 3 hours to onboard because they're very detailed. And the reality is, it's just like almost everything else in life. The more effort you put into something, the better the results will be. So we started Duo. It went live on a soft opening and we made a pretty meager investment into some marketing. We just wanted to see how the market would respond, right? And we got activations immediately. And then we started getting matches. And honestly, if you had said to me, will you get matches? I would probably laugh at you. But it started giving matches right away. So we'll start a very significant marketing push and from then we're off to the races. And we're going to go live in New York and San Francisco. It's a very different platform. There's nothing else that I've seen like it. It doesn't mean that there isn't anything else that exists. I'm not arrogant enough to say that, contrary to what certain people in my past might tell you. But it's a very different platform. What we did was we looked back at when the internet and dating was working, when Match was working, when these old legacy apps were actually working. And those relationships were based on things that matter. Is your character the same? Do you have similar beliefs? All the things that our parents used to decide to marry their spouse. Those things have kind of gone away. It's now a beauty contest, right? If you put up a picture and it doesn't look good, you're not going to get any play. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize that this is basically like a job application. You're applying to be somebody's significant other. So it should be presented accurately, but it should also be presented in the best possible accurate light.
Did you expect that? What was going through your mind when you saw the results quickly?
Validation that what we built was in line with what the market wants and what the market needs. We tested Duo on probably 150 or 200 people. We then tested Duo on married people. We tested Duo on people in relationships. We tested Duo on divorced people. And the interesting part about it was that for the people that were married, the lowest score that we got for a match was, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the 80th percentile. And I know both the husband and the wife, and they have a very, in my opinion, for the parts that I see, they have a very good marriage. The boyfriend and girlfriend are two people that I know very well, and the same situation. Their match was in the 91st percentile. When somebody goes through onboarding, we pull hundreds of data points. After the other person does the onboarding, we then set them up on 100 virtual dates, simulated dates. And the percentage comes down to each date. It's not a long thing, right? It is, do they want children or do they not want children? Are they cat people or dog people? Are they religious or not? Are they political or not? These are all things that matter. And unfortunately, in today's world, some of them matter more than they should, because there's no reason why a person that's a liberal and a person that's a conservative can't be happily married. They have different philosophies. It doesn't mean they can't have a happy life together. But today, unfortunately, that seems to be how a lot of people feel. We looked at this, we looked at the market, we looked at what was working, what was not working, and then we built something which is what we wanted the market to have. So you had two people that combined spent north of 10 years on dating apps, who were on pretty much every one that exists, and even the new ones that come out, we go on. And we took what we felt was working, what we felt was not working, and then we basically tore it to the ground and rebuilt it in such a way that it's got a very unique place in the marketplace.
Did the team just find 150 people? Did they outreach through text messages, social media? Did you come across any objections? And what did that look like?
The people who did it, they're all either people that I know or George knows, or people that we know well. They're friends and friends of friends. And we wanted to have specific types so we could see how well the algorithm actually worked. That was where putting together a couple of people that were divorced and putting them into the platform to see what happened. And it did not match them. It's not the result you would think that you want, but it's the result that we got, which is the result that we wanted. I'm a very big believer in the lean startup, Eric Ries's book. I think that the product market fit and validation and all those things are critical, not for this company. It's different if you're building a company that is an enterprise company or B2B company. Building a consumer company is very difficult. You can't really go on to LinkedIn and say, hey, Yasser, will you do this for me? Because unfortunately, what's happened is with LinkedIn, people get a dozen of those a week or a month. So it's tough. It was a better path for us to be able to talk to people about it and then ask them. And we had people who didn't do it. We had people who objected. I can't. I'm married. I have a girlfriend. I have a boyfriend, whatever. And those people didn't participate. But we were able to get enough of them that it made sense and that we were able to determine that what was built well and fully functional. I'm the eternal optimist. I'm not only is the glass full, but it's the best water you've ever had. I choose to live my life that way. It's not necessarily right, but I'd rather be optimistic about things. My dad used to say something to my brother and me regularly. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? As my brother and I had sports practice, we had classes, we had homework, we had our responsibilities at home. And at 18, those things, they're a lot. But my father's response to all that was always the same. If it was easy, everybody would do it. This is the life you have. This is the responsibilities that come with what life that you have. I didn't expect the uptake to be as strong as it was, as quickly as it was. And those happened organically. And then interestingly, the true definition of an organic growth happened when somebody in Florida found out about this and referred this to a number of her friends. And all of a sudden, we got a big group of people in Florida. We have our investors out, and one of them who lives up in the Napa Valley, she was out with a bunch of her girlfriends this week. And she said, oh, look at the company that I just invested in. And a bunch of girls from Napa signed up. And this is kind of what's happening as you go out and you start talking to people, you start talking about it, and there's no ask. It's a really simple thing. I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody who happened to mention to me he was going through a divorce. So I said, look, are you seeing anybody? He goes, no. And I go, here, try this out. And I gave him the link, the QR code. He went through the process, and 45 minutes later, he was registered and ready to go. So you just don't know how you're going to build community. People's relationship status is something people take very seriously. And we accept the responsibility of what comes with that.
What goes through your mind when you see a positive impact being made on that community?
There's a rush. When you're on an app and you get a match, it's not necessarily an adrenaline rush. It's more than an endorphin rush. It's something in between. And there's a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment that comes with it. But we also still know that we're literally on day one almost of this. There's so much more for us to do, and our plans are so much larger than what we're showing the world right now that I'm excited for the future, but I also know that we're going to need to hire a bunch of people and we're going to do some interesting things regarding dates and matches in the future.
When you felt validated, did you celebrate or did you feel a fire to continue working harder? Or did you have another type of feeling?
A good day at work isn't a celebration. A good day at work is a sense of accomplishment. There's an old saying, and I'm going to paraphrase, it's Teddy Roosevelt. The guy who's in the battlefield, who's dirty and dusty and bleeding, but victorious, that's building a startup. That's what this is. It's so hard, but it makes you feel good when you have a good day. But the problem is, right behind a good day is one that may not be as good. So I won't say that I celebrated, but I will tell you that George and I took a minute after the first match and that this is really interesting. We feel like we're onto something special. I'm not going to use any of the ridiculous words that people throw around and valuations and all that other stuff because frankly, we're not doing this for that reason. We're doing this because we see an opportunity in a marketplace and it's one that people need. And look at your longest friendships. What is it about those friendships that have caused them to last and to persevere difficult times and enjoy good times and everything else? It's that you have a lot of the same values. And we took that. What do you do with your friends? And we amplified it. What we're genuinely trying to build something where people get married, where people have children. Those are the milestones that we would love to have on our website in the future.
What do you think works consistently to scale, get more consumers? And what do you think does not work consistently?
The answer, not to sound flippant, is nothing. There isn't anything that I can tell you that works consistently and other things that don't work consistently. This is hit and miss. It's hundreds, if not thousands of experiments. It's the nuances of words. We have ads starting Friday and we're still working on language this morning, right? 48 hours ahead of time. There isn't an answer to that question. You look at a company like Facebook that started off on one campus on the East Coast, and then you look at Snap, which did the same thing on the West Coast with a much larger college. They both ramped the same way. You have to be open minded. I would encourage everybody to use some type of an agency. You can do them for not a lot of money and go out and find people that have successfully done what it is you're doing and built a community in the past. If you can. And if you can't, then go out and start to talk to the people who are building companies who have accomplished, or at least you feel have accomplished what you're trying to do. And I'm speaking that from the sense of the entrepreneur that's trying to say, how do I do this? How do I build community? How do I build mass? And there isn't a set way, but it's fun figuring it out.
Taking a step back, what did you go through on day one? What was the work you did?
George lives in the suburbs of Boston. I live in the suburbs of San Francisco. We're 2,500 miles away from each other ish. And we have a screen open where we can see each other. He's working on fixing technical problems. I'm working on fixing technical problems. And we would realize that this wasn't working and everything else, which is why you do a soft opening. And as we did that and we started getting the error messages and everything else, things we didn't realize before. And there's nothing wrong with that. One of my favorite quotes in tech comes from Reid Hoffman. If you're not embarrassed by version one of your product, you went to market too late. And I agree with that 100%. I'm 64, Yasser, and if we had as much problems with my first technical endeavor as we did with Duo, I would have probably crawled in a hole and died. Not literally, but it would have upset me. Now it's how it goes. It's tech. It changes, right? If some of the biggest companies in the world can make mistakes and say, oops, we're going to fix this and we're going to keep going, so can the startup. You have to keep trying. And the best part of what I do, but at the same time, the worst part of what I do is it never stops. It is constant iteration, it's constant conversation, it's constant consideration of what it is that you need to do and what we can do to make this product better, to make the platform better, and to make the lives of the people that have entrusted us with their information, their lives better.
So on day one, when you ran into those problems, how did you approach those problems?
Each time something came up, we addressed it. I'm not a highly technical coder, but I can do some. George, on the other hand, is world class. And I did the stuff that I could do, and the stuff that I couldn't do, we got to do with George, or he coached me up on how to do something. The first day, I think it was a Saturday that we were live, and a high percentage of the activations were coming from New York, which was interesting because we weren't marketing there much, if at all. We need to get people in New York and we need to get them registered. It's taken our competitors months to get to where we already are. And I'm purposefully not using numbers.
So based on this trajectory, do you find that you're going to need significant marketing plans in place to make that push? Or do you think you'll develop organically to reach that critical mass?
Our competitors, Bumble and Match Group, they have infinite resources. We don't. We're out here and we're speaking about it. There's a company that's built similar product, but it's not dating. It's about friends in college. And frankly, it's not impressive. Very different from ours. And it's based 100% on pictures. So you know nothing about the people. And as much as anybody will tell you that they're attracted to a person or not attracted to a person, no matter what, there's so much more you need to know about a person before you're going to invest the time or the money into going out to dinner or otherwise.
Which AI tools do you like to use and how do you use them?
I use chat, and what I do with chat is I'll give it prompts. I don't use it all that often. I know people that are using chat to write everything that they write. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm also a writer by education. So I use chat, but more of it is structure, and I'm looking for other ways of thinking. I'll put in a tagline and I'll say, keeping this flavor, keeping this level of intensity, and I've been putting stuff in about Duo into chat for probably 2 to 3 months. It has a lot of contextual information. It came back with some really interesting ideas. They didn't work, but it gave us stuff to wordsmith. AI is going to turn out to be a double-edged sword. There are times it will help you. There are times where it will help you, but not as much. I don't have the fear that AI is Skynet from the Terminator. And there are people out there that think the sky is falling because of AI. I understand that our power and data center needs are going to need to change radically. That's coming, but that's progress. Yasser, my first company, I spent middle seven figures on a data center here in the Bay Area on servers. And today, I don't have to do that. I read an article today. It used to be 5 million bucks for a data center. Now you've got individual entrepreneurs who can start a business for $500. That's the opportunity of a lifetime to me. You have an idea. There are tools out there that can even help a non-technical person accomplish things. And then once they get it to a certain point, they can take it to the outside and do their product market validation.
What are the personality traits you think are needed to be successful in entrepreneurship?
You got to have thick skin, can't take things personally. You need to have a balanced life as much as possible. You got to always do your best. No matter what, you're tired, right? This is different because if you don't execute, this is a radical statement. If you don't get paid, you don't eat. And it kind of comes down to that. You have to be on. You need to have grit. You need to have character. You need to always do your best. You can't take anything personally. And lastly, and most importantly, you have to be flawless with your words. You have to do exactly what you say you're going to do, or tell them, whoever, whatever the circumstances are, tell them why something's late, whatever. Just communicate.
Any final thoughts you want to leave for people still trying to get their first client?
Don't stop. That first client is going to come to you in a way that you won't believe. One of my companies, I tried for a year and a half to bring on a first client. Finally did, but it was minuscule. It was 100 or 200 or $300 a month. Well, that company's CEO's brother works for a very large investment bank in New York. And this is during COVID. I was actually playing basketball outside with a group of guys that I play with, and I get a phone call, and it turns out to be the chief compliance officer of one of the largest private equity firms on Wall Street. And they turned out to be our first big customer. And he called me. And it happened when the world was shut down. How you're going to get it, I don't know. These networking things that so many people don't put any time into, you got to go. It's just part of the job. But just don't go to every one every night because many of them are not worth your time or effort. But the ones that are, and you'll figure out who they are based on the community that you're in, invest the time. Except with one thing, don't go in there hoping to sell your company that night. Go into these circumstances, and I look at it like baseball. If I get a base hit, if I get one interesting contact through one of these events, I'm happy. If I get more, great. But one is enough. This is what you have to do. This is not giving up and continuing to push through difficult times. And lastly, have somebody to talk to. Have a person that you can talk to about what you're feeling, the things that are you think are holding you back. I have a friend that lives in the city who is about my age and has done a bunch of startups. But he comes from much bigger organizations, CSC, etc., and his perspective is much different than mine. I've spent the last 3 decades building companies from where I'm the first employee. And it's nice to have somebody to talk to that you can say, hey, I'm kind of going through some stuff. I'm thinking about some stuff. Let's meet for a beer and talk this through. Having somebody to talk to who understands you, who understands what you're building, who understands what it takes to build something like that is invaluable.
When it took you a year and a half to land $100 with that client, did you want to give up in that moment? What made you keep going?
I could give you more than one answer, and I'm going to be flippant. Ignorance, arrogance, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll tell you this, as you go out and you talk to people, if you show somebody what you're building and their face lights up, jump right into that. Take that and take that forward. If somebody asks you questions, don't get defensive. Answer the questions and then find out why they're asking if you don't understand why. It will help you from being defensive. I don't think there has ever been an entrepreneur, with very few exceptions. You could probably look at Facebook and Dell and Microsoft. They started strong and didn't slow down for a long time. But I was reading an article the other day where Nvidia, which is a $5 trillion market cap today, they couldn't sell their things. In our case, this time we've entered an established market. If you're building something where there isn't established market, then you need to build the market. What I did with the company just before this and this one, they're entirely different paths to follow because the one that I started a decade ago, there was nobody doing what I did in compliance. And it took us 7 years to figure out how to do it. 7 years of failed experiments. This time, we knew that there's already a $15 billion market that's sitting out there, and there's something like 50 million people that are on dating apps today. But see, when you're selling to enterprise, you're selling to big companies, those are all data points you need to know. If I'm talking to somebody about a dating app, they don't need to know that there are 300 million people on this. So that's one of the reasons I don't have the number at the tip of my tongue. Usually I would.
Where can people find Duo AI?
You can go to tryduo.net or textduo.com, or if someone goes to that QR code, it will open up your text and this starts the process.
For anyone out there wanting an improved relationship and dating experience, please scan that QR code. Links to Duo AI are in the description below. Nuri, such a great conversation with you. Thank you so much for your time.